I'm Joel, and in this video, we're going to be learning how to add mixed numbers and fractions with unlike denominators. I hope you understand this concept by the end of the video.
Let's learn adding fractions and mixed numbers with unlike denominators. Sure, it may seem easy till now, but let's start to get trickier. If you have a fraction like 3 by 7 plus a fraction like maybe 6 by 8. One thing you need to know before solving this question is that two denominators which are multiples of each other or have different denominators are called unlike denominators. The denominators aren't the same. How will you add it? Let's see. In order to do that, you have to make these fractions equivalent. Now, how exactly do we do that? And what does that mean? Let's look into it. Let's suppose you ate 1/3 of a pie. Let's draw the pie. Okay, so we've drawn 1/3 and shaded in the 1/3. Okay, let's suppose that someone else took 2/6 of another pie. Okay, we've drawn 2 by 6 of the pie. Now, do you notice that both of the pies and the parts we've crossed out are exactly the same? Okay, let's compare. Let's erase the parts that are not shaded in the pie. Now the second pie. Okay, we've done that. Now, let's compare both the shaded parts of the pies. If you bring them together, you will see that they're exactly the same thing. What? But 1/3 is smaller than 2/6, you might be thinking, right? Actually, they're the same. Let's draw 1/3. And underneath it, 2 by 6. If you go check out our simplifying fractions video, you will see that 2 by 6 can be simplified to 1 by 3. But 1 by 3 can't be simplified, but it can be equivalent to something. 1 by 3 is equivalent to 2 by 6, which means it's equal to the amount of 2 by 6. Let me explain. 3 times 2 is 6, right? Let's do the same thing to the numerator. 1 times 2 is 2, so that means they're both equivalent. The reason we can find this out is whatever you multiply the numerator by, you need to multiply the denominator by the same thing. Let's look at all the fractions that 1/3 is equivalent to. 1/3. We already know it's equivalent to 2 by 6. What else is it equivalent to? Let's do 2 by 6 times maybe 2. Let's do the same thing to the numerator. 2 times 2 is 4. And 6 times 2 is 12. 4 by 12 is the same thing as 1 by 3. To check if that's correct, let's do this. Let's find what 12 divided by 3 is. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So let's do times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So let's do the same thing as we do to the denominator to the numerator, because that's what we always have to do. Let's do 1 times 4. That's 4. So that means 1 by 3 and 4 by 12 are equivalent. We've just found that out. So now that you've got an idea of equivalent fractions, let's look at the problem we were doing earlier. Let's write the multiples of 7 and 8 individually down. I'll explain why we need that later. Okay, so let's write the multiples of 7. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, and 56. That's all we'll write for now. And let's do the multiples of 8. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, and 56. So that's all we write for now. Do you see any numbers that repeat? In 7 and 8? Let's see. 7. So do you notice that 56 in the 8th side and 56 in the 7th side is the same thing? So let's write that down. That means 56 is the LCM of 7 and 8. What does LCM mean? LCM stands for least common multiple. That means that the smallest possible common multiple in both of them. Common multiple means the same multiple. So 56 is the least common multiple of 7 and 8 because it's the smallest multiple that's the same thing in both of the multiples. Okay, sure. We found that the LCM is 56. But what will we use it for? Well, the LCM of both the numbers will be the denominator. 56 is the denominator. So we need to find the numerator. But one thing we have to do before we do anything is replace 3 by 7 and 6 by 8 into their equivalent fractions. Okay, 3 by 7, 6 by 8. We need to convert them so the denominator can be 56. So 56 divided by 7 is 8. So we do times 8 for both the numerator and the denominator. 8 times 3 is 24. So we got the equivalent fraction of 3 by 7 to 24 by 56. Now, what's 56 divided by 8? That is 7. So let's do the same thing to the numerator. 7 times 6 is 42. So that will be the new fraction. So we found our new fractions out. 3 by 7 is now 24 by 56, and 6 by 8 is now 42 by 56. Let's replace them. 24 by 56 and 42 by 56. Now that we've converted all the denominators and the numerators into equivalent denominators, which are 56, we can now add 42 and 24 to get the final answer. Let's make space so we can add 42 plus 24. We'll do it like we add any other number. 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 plus 2 is 6 again. So the answer is 66. But we don't stop there. We convert it into mixed numbers. Let's put that aside. Let's write 66 by 56. And let's divide them first. If you divide them, you get 56 once, so we can write that 1. And we need to find the remainder. To do that, we do 66 subtract 56, like normal. 6 minus 6 is 0. 6 minus 5 is 1. So we get the answer 10. So our numerator would be 10, and our denominator would be 56. Still not done. We have to simplify the fraction. Let's write the multiples of 10. 5 times 1 times 2. Now for 56. 23 times 1 times 2. Let's cross out the numbers that repeat, which are 2 and 1. So the answer is 1 whole and 5 by 23. We did it! If you have to subtract numbers with different denominators, you can do the same method we just used, except subtract. Now, it may seem difficult to do this at first, but I've only done it step by step for explaining purposes, and if you practice, you'll soon get the hang of it. Congrats! You've just learned how to add and subtract mixed numbers and fractions.
Thanks for watching. I hope you understood how to do this.